Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the 718 Spider. Alright guys, so I just posted a video on my YouTube channel about collecting the car and about from Topaz after getting the details and stuff. Now it's a few days later now. I've driven it a couple of times since then. Obviously I've driven it home. Initial thoughts was it's very loud inside. It wasn't the greatest drive home on the motorway. But the following day I took it out for a drive with the roof down, which is its intended purpose, and it was fantastic. And then yesterday I went to a local meet of other Porsche owners, and I set my sat nav to take me down winding roads, so it avoided all the motorway and everything like that, and I had a fantastic time. So it was really good to drive with the roof down, which is its intended purpose really. In fact, I haven't put the roof up since I got home. Anyway, the reason why I'm making this video today is because I'm doing my first modification, if you like. It's not a performance modification, but it's a convenience modification. And basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach a cable to the car so I can charge the car when I'm not using it, which is what I do with both of my cars. My 911 is actually on the trickle charge right now. Yeah, I'll show you quickly. You can see the cable there. Sorry about the state of my garage. The cable, the CTEK charger is over there on the wall. And if you look in here, you can see the cable here. And I've got this little traffic light system on there, flashing green to tell me the battery's in good order. Now that cable stays on the car all the time. You just disconnect it here, like this, and yeah, and then I reconnect it, and then I just leave that on the car all the time so I can charge it very quickly, and it's connected to the battery. And that's what I'm going to do on the Spider today, because like I said, I've just got it and I need to set that up. So let's get on with it. This is not a sponsored ad. But this is what I'm going to be using today. It's a CTEK comfort indicator eyelet, it's called, and it's going to be connected to my CTEK charger. I've got one on each wall. This is a new one actually. This one's got a test and it's got some. It's called test and charge, which is obviously it's a charger, so it should charge, but it also tests the battery as well, which is good when you got a car you haven't used for a while. I don't know how that works yet, I haven't even tried it. So I bought it in Europe as well, so it's got a European plug adapter on it. But this, I'm going to be connecting this to the car, and this is going to stay on the car the whole time, like I said. Alright, so what we're going to be doing is we're going to be removing this, and underneath, I've already prized it open, so I can just lift it out. And that's going to come off like this, and then reveals the working parts. I'll put that down carefully. And there you go, there's all your bits and pieces, your brake servo, etc., and there's your battery. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to connect, this has got pins on, so I can connect it to each side of the battery. It's very straightforward, even I can do it. And then then I can just connect and disconnect easily without having to remove this plastic each time. Alright, for this I'm going to be using a 10mm socket, and just going to be removing this. Well, I got bored of that really quickly. Use this. They've put a notch on here to stop the nut from coming off, but in doing so they've made it a little bit more difficult to connect. They've made it very difficult to get this little screw off, this little bolt nut off. Otherwise simple procedure. What they've done is they've bent the edges over so the nut stays in place, and they've done the same thing on the back side, so that doesn't come out and this won't come off. So I had to use pliers to get it off, which is, I didn't really want to disconnect the battery from the car, but I had to do it. So yeah, that was a bit tricky. Ordinarily it's very straightforward, but it was actually a bit tricky. like I said, this is the unit I'm putting on. I've just opened it. Basically, this is what's inside. You've got two connectors here. Make sure you put the right ones on each side, and then you've got your little traffic light thing here, which I'll show you in a minute when it's connected. All right, so wow, so a 5-minute job turned into a half-an-hour job. So this basically, this nut here was held in place by these two bits that are bent over, but after I managed to get the nut out, I couldn't get it back in. So I had to bend back these two parts just to get the nut back in. So what should have been a fairly straightforward job turned into a bit of a tricky one. But anyway, I've got it back in now, so I'm going to reconnect it to the battery. It's on nice and tight. The other side, he says with trepidation, the other side doesn't have that on it, so it should be straightforward. Wow, well, that was a little bit harder than I expected. But there we go. So, now if you look here, it shows the traffic light system is working, although it says red, which means the battery is not got a lot of voltage. But with it being a brand new battery, and I think it's just probably because I've had the car, I've got the light running down here and stuff like that, so it's just showing a little bit low. But as soon as I start the engine, take it for a drive, it'll be fine. Also, if I plug it in, it will also be fine as well. So once you're ready to go, you take this, you pop the cover off, and then you plug in, and then boom. And you can see, as soon as I plugged it in, it switches to orange, because it's getting a charge, and then within a few minutes it'll be on green. But that's how it works. And the great thing about it is, so it's already gone to green, so the great thing about it is I can put the cover back on here, I can leave it in there permanently, and then I can just plug it in whenever I need to by just popping the bonnet. And then I can place this back. There you go. It's all back in. And that's it. So I'll just leave that like that. And then whenever I need to plug it into a charger, I can plug it in. The great thing is Porsche use the same chargers, the CTEK chargers. In actual fact, what they do is they just rebrand it as a Porsche charger, but it's a CTEK. So when it goes to a Porsche dealership, if they were working on it for any number of days, they can plug their own charger straight into it, keep it charged up. It's not an exciting modification, but it's useful modification, and it makes life easier, and I would recommend it. I do it to all my cars, except the Kia, because the Kia sits out on the drive all the time. But for both cars, I have the CTEK chargers with the little mount on the wall. This is an extra. You can buy this from CTEK, obviously. And also the cables, you can buy extension cables as well. So you can run these as long as you need them. And you just connect with the same plug. You can see here that I have an extension cable here to make it longer, and you can make it as long as you want. As you can see from my 911, the charger's all the way back there, and then it's running down here, down the side. So I got a very long one on this one here. You can see it runs all the way along. Alright guys, that's it. Just a quick one. Well, wasn't so quick for me as I thought it would be, but it's a quick one for a quick video. I'm going to be busy tomorrow, so tomorrow I'm going to be taking the 911 to Tech 9 to get a new clutch. I'll go into that in the next video. So get a new clutch, a new flywheel, also new 200 cell cats and a new exhaust, which I've talked about before. And then immediately I'm coming back from delivering that, and then I'm jumping in the Spider and I'm going to Specialized covers, and they're going to measure my car up for a cover, because I always use Specialized covers for my cars, but they've not had one of these in yet, and they said if you bring it up we'll measure it and then we'll make a cover for you. So I'm going to go up and film some of the process of that, so that should be interesting. So, interestingly, obviously during that job I disconnected the battery. Now, you remember when that used to be a normal thing, you could disconnect the battery and there was no problem. But with this car, with my old 987, when I disconnected the battery, I used to get a warning message. But as soon as I drove the car, it disappeared. And I got a warning message on this car, but I've just taken it out for a drive. I did about 30 miles. And then I turned it off and everything, and then when I go back into it, it's still showing a message that I have to take it to the dealer. And the only thing I've done is disconnected the battery for a couple of minutes while I fitted that charging cable. So I'll show you what I mean. You can see that engine control fault, consult dealer. That's crazy, just for a disconnecting of the battery. So that's crazy, like that I've got an error just because I disconnected the battery. I mean, people do that, you know. So anyway, that's weird. I'm gonna contact the dealer anyway and find out. There must be a way to cancel it. Alright, so it's like an hour later, hour and a half later, and I've just finished editing the video, and I got to the end bit where I'm like, that's crazy. So I thought I'd come back down and check it, and as you've just seen, it's cleared. So yeah, that was a bit weird. But for the whole time I was out in the car, for like maybe half an hour, 40 minutes driving around, the light was on. And then I even pulled over to the side of the road, stopped the car, turned it off, locked the car like I was not in it, unlocked it, started it back up again, but it was still coming back, but now it's gone away. So yeah, that was weird. All right, so in future I'll know to just ignore it. All right guys, thanks a lot. Bye bye.